Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Sonny Strauss. In the early days of Virginia, a large area of land, about 6,000 acres where Alexandria is today, was given to an English ship captain named Robert Housen in 1669. The governor of Virginia, Sir William Berkeley, gave him this land as a reward because Housen had brought 120 people to settle in the colony. Part of this land had already been claimed earlier in 1654 by a woman named Dame Margaret Brent, but the new grant still included that area. However, Housen didn't keep the land for long. He sold all 6,000 acres to a man named John Alexander. Instead of money, Alexander paid him with 6,000 pounds of tobacco, which was commonly used as a form of payment at the time. Today, this same land later became known as Alexandria County, Virginia. I'm now going to switch to the origins of George Washington's estate called Mount Vernon. I have been to it personally, and it is a very interesting sight to see. I recommend it to anybody. John Alexander has a vital role to play in this famous estate's ancestry. In 1674, the story of Mount Vernon began with a powerful man named Lord Thomas Culpeper. He granted 5,000 acres of land along the Potomac River to two influential Virginians, Lieutenant Colonel John Washington and Colonel Nicholas Spencer. My ancestor, John Alexander, surveyed the land for John Washington and Nicholas Spencer in 1699, according to an original record saying as much. This is the original register for this land surveying. A while back, I emailed George Washington's Mount Vernon Library about this document, and they were able to digitize it for me, so they have my thanks. It's a pretty historic document to have in one's family collection. It reads as follows, quote, "Whereas it doth to us appear by a survey signed by Mr. John Alexander, surveyor, bearing date April the 17th, 1669, that he then surveyed for Colonel Nicholas Spencer and Lieutenant Colonel John Washington 5,000 acres of land lying upon the freshes of Potomac River, for which said land we have passed a patent unto the said Nicholas Spencer and Lieutenant Colonel John Washington, 1674, end quote. Regarding John Washington the immigrant, he came over much earlier than 1674 when the land tract for Washington and Spencer had occurred. Washington immigrated in the year 1657. He was a man of wealth due to a document showing that he obtained a land grant of 1,500 acres for the transportation of 30 indentured servants and 2 enslaved Africans not named in 1667. 7 years later, he would gain the land that would become what we know now as Mount Vernon. Descendants of both Washington and Alexander would marry into one another, as prominent families do. For example, Anne Alexander, a daughter of Gerard Alexander and Mary Dent Alexander, married Fielding Lewis Jr. He was the son of Betty Washington, President Washington's sister, and her husband, Fielding Lewis Sr. If you follow the Keokee and Pettus line, then know Sarah Ashton, daughter of John Ashton and Grace Meese, is a descendant through her mother's ancestry. My line goes from Sarah Ashton, who married Philip Alexander, son of John Alexander the surveyor. Another example of the Washington and Alexander families marrying is Philip and Sarah Ashton Alexander's grandchildren, Langhorne Dade and Elizabeth Dade, married Mildred Washington and Lawrence Washington. These Washington descendants come from a different line. They descend from John Washington, the immigrant's brother, Lawrence Washington. And so there you have it. I hope you found this as interesting as I do. It's very interesting to see where some things originate, land or people, because we are in the 250th anniversary of this nation. So it's important to tell the story of America and its descendants.